2 years ago today, I found out I was pregnant, and I was not excited about it. So ultimately, 2 years ago, I found out that I was pregnant with my now almost 17-month-old baby. And I wasn't excited about it because my situation wasn't favorable. I was unemployed. I was 2 months unemployed at this point. I had just found out that I did not get selected as the candidate for 2 roles that I was in several rounds of interviews with. I mean, top companies, very favorable salary, amazing opportunity. Professionally, it was going to propel me in the right direction, and I didn't get either one of them. And I'm pregnant, and I ain't got no job. Why should I be excited? Why should I be excited about that? I don't got no job. And here's why I wasn't excited. Because I felt like the most irresponsible person on the planet. Because quite naturally, of course, as I'm taking the test, we turn on the gospel music and we like, God, this cannot be what I need it to be right now. This cannot be what I think it is right now. Let's say that. Yeah, it is that. Because you ain't did nothing to prevent it from happening, and you know how a baby get here. So yeah, it is that. And so I just felt very irresponsible. It is so off trend for like who I am, how I show up in the world. I'm very type A. I always got a plan for everything. This was not in the plan. Now, I feel like this was God's way of teaching me that everything is not going to go as planned. And it was also God's way of showing me that even when things don't go as planned, they will all work out for your good. Now, I later found a job that actually was willing to give me paid maternity leave for 6 weeks, and I wasn't even there for a year to qualify for maternity leave. And because of me and another young lady, we were able to get a policy established that even if a woman starts this job, she can now get at least 6 weeks paid maternity leave. That was a blessing in itself. I didn't have to like take additional time off to go to doctor's appointments or to care for whatever I needed to care for in relation to that baby, and that was the blessing in disguise. I struggled with like showing up excited in the world because even some of my closest friends didn't know that I had lost my job. And, I lost my job during COVID. I lost my job after COVID. And so at that point, I didn't really want to have the conversation about job loss again, not realizing that like my life was about to take a left turn down a road I had no idea. So a lot of people close to me had no idea that I didn't have a job. So imagine their level of excitement. Oh my gosh, you're about to have a baby. This is so exciting. You're married. Y'all got your house. Y'all are on the up and up. So they thought. I'll be honest and say, I think by the time I actually announced publicly that I was pregnant, that was 4th of July weekend. Or actually 4th of July, I believe. By that time, I was starting to move into a space where I was comfortable with it, where I could be positive about it. But I'll be honest, there was a lot of stress. There was a lot of worry. There was a lot of concern because yes, I had a village around me. Yes, I had a husband and all of that. But as a mama, you want to feel like you can take care of your child and do what your child needs. And my village, before I got a job and before this baby even got here, Madison had all her furniture. She had everything she needed. And my aunt would always tell me, like, that baby will have everything she needs. You don't have to worry about that. She will have everything she needs. And, that's reassuring. But, like, when it's you in that situation, you don't want to hear that. You want to be able to provide for your kid. And so y'all got to understand that, like, I got it. I'm going to handle it. I'm going to take care of it type of person. So to kind of be hesitant to do that. And it wasn't that I couldn't do it. It was just a matter of, do I go spend this money on this? And then I don't have that money later to do whatever I need to do with it because I still don't have a job. Nonetheless, we fast forward to now, and I feel like motherhood has been quite the experience. On one end, amazing, love it, best experience ever. On the other end, literally one of the most exhausting and overwhelming experiences you'll ever have, because you're responsible for a human, and what you do for that human is so impactful on their life for years to come. And you have to put yourself in a position to be strong for them, because they don't understand that life gets tough, or you're tired, or you're overwhelmed, or you have other external factors that aren't them and what they need. And with Mother's Day coming around, I feel like I've been able to reflect a lot on that experience. And the one thing that I wish I would have done is been more honest and open about the fact that, like, I'm excited about the fact that there's a baby coming, and this is such an amazing blessing, but I'm not excited about this because of my circumstances, because I do think that two things can be true at the same time. And I think I robbed myself of a certain kind of support that I probably needed from everyone around me. Now, I had people in my corner that did know, that were able to support me, but honestly, I don't know if that was enough for me at that time, because it was so overwhelmingly triggering or overwhelmingly driving how I felt. Like, it was definitely a roller coaster of emotions all the time. Of course, interviewing for jobs, getting to the final round, hearing no again, and of course a few too many no's, and you start to feel like, girl, you are 7 months pregnant, how you gonna hide a pregnancy? And so I think when I started that job, I was about to be 8 months pregnant. No, I was 7 months, about to be 8 months pregnant, something like that. And so thankfully, it was more of a remote role than anything. All my interviews were remote. I did have to go into the office, but I just wore something that was big. I wasn't really one of those people that was like super big. So if I wore something that was larger, like I think I wore like a flowy dress or something like that. And that was the way that I was able to conceal it. And then I let them know immediately on my first day, because I needed to be clear, like, hey, this is what's going on, and I need to understand what my options are. And you know, the other thing about that is, being a mama is so tricky, because when you looking for a job, or when you trying to make certain type of professional moves, you have to like conceal the fact that you're a mom until you actually secure the opportunity. Because if you tell them you a mama too soon, you know what, sometimes that's going to negatively impact the selection of you as the viable candidate, because they feel like you have too many responsibilities that are external, that would cloud your judgment or negatively impact your ability to be focused on that particular role or that particular opportunity. And I just wish that this wasn't that kind of society. And I wish it was a space where professional women had a space to be a mama in front of people. Does that make sense? Nonetheless, Mother's Day is on the way, and I think I'm gonna make this a series, because I like talking about motherhood, and I like saying the things nobody wants to say. It doesn't make me any less of a mother. It doesn't make me hate motherhood. It's just me being completely honest and open and completely transparent about how I feel about motherhood, especially as somebody who's like adopted, who looks at motherhood in a very different light than probably some other people.